Hello guys, welcome to CA Dreams YouTube channel. So this is the lecture number 7 in English. Before I have uploaded the lecture number 7 in Hindi. So the students who want to view the lecture in Hindi can go to the last video. So the topic for today is evaluation of internal control by the auditor. So far as the auditor is concerned, the examination and evaluation of the internal control system is an indispensable part of the overall audit program. So, till the third topic, we have studied about the internal control. Now we are studying that what is the relevance of examination and evaluation of that internal control by the auditor. So internal control is put by the management, right? The higher authority of any organization. But as an auditor, it is your responsibility that you have to evaluate that whether those internal controls are working properly, whether they are able to prevent, detect and correct the risk of material misstatement or error or fraud or not, right? So that is why it is said that the auditor is concerned with the examination and evaluation of the internal control, and it is an indispensable part of overall audit program. They mean to say this, that when they evaluate the internal control, so if they find that the internal control is not that appropriate, or it is not it is not being used by the management, it is not being operated properly, or the internal controls fail to prevent, detect and correct the material misstatement, so the auditor will design his further audit program according to that. And if the situation is vice versa, then the audit program will be designed up to that. So they mean that thus examination and evaluation of internal control is a very integral, it is a very important part for designing of any audit program. The auditor needs reasonable assurance that the accounting system is adequate and that all the information which should be recorded has in fact been recorded. Now the auditor should also have a reasonable assurance that the accounting system which is being operated in the entity, it is adequate, and also the accounting information which needs to be recorded, right, which the auditor needs to be documented, is properly recorded. Okay, so in fact being recorded, that means that it is actually recorded. Okay, now internal control normally contributes to such assurance. Now the auditor, if he evaluates the internal control, so he can properly conclude that if the internal controls in the organization are proper, so he may conclude that the accounting system is also adequate, and also the accounting information which should be recorded has been recorded, because if the internal controls are proper, then the organizational work will be very strict, and there will be a proper monitoring of work. So the auditor can conclude, the auditor can deem that all whatever is required has been done. Okay, so he can obtain an high level of assurance. High level of assurance means not absolute assurance, but a very high level, a reasonable assurance. Now the auditor should gain an understanding of the accounting system and related internal controls, and should study and evaluate the operations of these internal controls upon which he wishes to rely in determining the nature, timing, extent of other audit procedures. Now if the auditor wants to use that particular accounting information, or that particular accounting system in his further audit procedure, okay, or if he wants to conclude with that if he wants to carry forward with that internal control into his audit program or into his audit processing, then what he will do, he will decide the nature, timing and extent of those audit procedures according to the understanding of the accounting systems and the internal controls, so by the examination and evaluation. Okay, so it is just the introduction part. If you're not that much clear, just have some patience, you will be able to clear. So till yet we have just discussed that to have a reasonable assurance that the entity has carried forward with this work in a proper and efficient manner, the auditor should examine and evaluate the internal control system. Okay, now what are the benefits of internal control to the auditor? So before this we have just read the introduction part, that according to the evaluation of internal control, the auditor will decide the nature, timing and extent of his audit program and other audit procedures. Now what are the actual benefits of the evaluation of internal control to the auditor, we are going to study. So the auditor will be able to conclude the following things: that whether the errors and frauds are likely to be located in the ordinary course of business. So that means, so you can write here that they mean to say that whether the internal controls or the internal control system is set up in such a manner that errors and frauds, if they exist in the entity, will be easily located or will be easily detected, right? So you can write here that whether the errors and frauds are likely to be located, that means are likely to be detected, that if there exists any error or fraud in the entity, in the business, then are the internal controls in such a way that they will able to detect the errors and frauds. So you can write here the detection of errors and frauds. Okay, you can write here the detection of errors and frauds. So the internal control system of the entity should be in such a way that the internal control system or the management comes to know that there is any error or fraud, or there is any possibility of error or fraud, so they must be able to detect it. So their internal control system should be set in such a manner. Then whether an adequate internal control system is in use and operating as planned by the management. Now this is one of the major requirement, that if the adequate internal control, so first of all the internal control system should be adequate, and then secondly it should be in use, and also it should be operating as planned. Okay, it should not be there that the planning part was good but the implementation part was bad. So it should not happen. The internal control system should work as per the planning requirements. Okay, as in the way as it was planned, it should be implemented in the same way. Now whether an effective internal auditing department is operating. Now to have a check on the working of internal control, there should be internal audits from time to time. You will learn about the internal audit portion when we will go to that topic, but here they are just saying that whether an effective internal auditing department is operating. That means that whether in the entity internal audit is done properly or not. Okay, so you just have to you just can conclude by the evaluation of internal control that whether the entity conducts internal audit in a timely manner or not. Then the fourth point says that whether any administrative control has a bearing on his work. For example, if the control over work requirement and enrollment is weak, there is a likelihood of dummy names being included in the wages sheet, and this is relevant for the auditor. So that means that whether the administrative control has a proper control on their work. Okay, so they are saying that if there is any weakness in the requirement and enrollment, so what are the chances? There are chances that something wrong, something which does not exist, can be included in the wages sheet, and thus there will be some wrong results. So that is why the internal control system should be set in such a manner that the administrative control should have a bearing on their work. That means there should be a proper check that whatever exists is only recorded, no dummy names or anything like that should be recorded. Now fifth point says whether the controls adequately safeguard the assets. Now the assets of the company or the entity should be properly safeguarded. So if the auditor will evaluate the internal control, he will be able to conclude that whether the controls adequately safeguard the assets or not. Now how far and how adequately the management is discharging in its function in so far as correct recording of transactions is concerned. So they means that how is the management working. So you will easily able to know the about the working of the management if you will if you will examine the internal control system. So you will be able to conclude, as an auditor I am saying you, that you will be able to easily determine that how far and how adequately the management is discharging its function. That means in which manner is the management performing their duties, and are they correcting are they recording correct transactions. So in so far as correct recording of transactions is concerned, so that means that management is complying with their duties, is recording correct transactions only. Now how reliable the reports, records and certificates to the management can be. Now what is the extent that the reports, records and certificate which are given to the management are reliable. So they are just saying that to what extent does the management relies on reports, records and certificate. Okay, so if you will evaluate the internal control, you will be able to do this point. You will be able to conclude that if the management time to time or scrutinizes the reports, records, and certificates, then the management is not relying properly. But if the management does not perform any duty of checking the reports, records, and transactions or certificates, so that means the management is relying on those records and reports to a large extent. So that is why you will be able to conclude that to what extent is the management relying on the reports, records, and the certificates. Okay, then your eighth point says the extent and depth of the examination that he needs to carry out in the different areas of accounting. Now, when you will evaluate the internal control, you will be able to easily conclude that what is their strength and what is their weakness. So that is why you will be able to calculate the extent and depth, that to which area you should pay more attention and which area you should pay less attention. So the extent and depth of the examination will also be understood by the auditor if he will calculate the internal control system. Now, what would be appropriate audit technique and the audit procedure in the given circumstance? This point is self-understood. Then what are the areas where control is weak and where it is excessive? So this will be also able to this will also be located through evaluation of internal control only. Now, whether some worthwhile suggestions can be given to improve the control system. So if there are any suggestions, then as an auditor you can give, and if you don't have any suggestions, then don't give. Okay, so these are the basic 11 points which are the benefits of evaluation of internal control to the auditor. So this question can come in either a case study or a direct question. So I would recommend that you should learn at least of 9 points and you should understand all the points. Okay, so these 4 points are very easy, and this point is also very easy. Okay, this is also easy, this is also, this is so, and this is also. So these 5 points and these 4 points, these are very easy. So you can learn all the 9 topics, sorry, all the 9 points, and these 2 points you must understand. Okay, rest you can learn any of the 9 points according to you. Now let's move on to the next topic, formulate audit program after understanding the internal control. So till yet we have discussed that what are the benefits of evaluation of internal control to the auditor. Now after evaluating the internal control system, the auditor will formulate the audit program. So they are saying that only the auditor can formulate his entire audit program only after he has had a satisfactory understanding of the internal control system and their actual operation. So this is self-understood that if the auditor has evaluated the internal control system, then he can formulate the entire audit program according to the weaknesses and strength of the internal control system. Now, if he does not care to study this aspect, it is very likely that his audit program may become unwieldy and unnecessarily heavy, and the objective of the audit may be altogether lost in the mass of entries and vouchers. So for these lines, first I would like to give you an example. Like suppose any of the student fails in the any of the level, CA foundation, CA inter, or any level. Okay, now what happens is after he fails, what he does, he neither analyzes his strengths nor he does any counseling, and he is still unaware of the strengths and weakness. Okay, he prepares in the same way as he prepared in his first attempt. So will he be able to succeed? No. So the teachers also always advise you all that if you have failed, if you are not able to clear your exams, or this situation also, the pandemic situation also, the students who are going to appear in August, right? And if they are not still analyzing that to which portion they are strong and to which portion they are weak, what are the chances that may occur that their weak portion may become more weak, their strong portion may also become weak, right? So there are several conclusions, there are several there are several reasons, or it's not the appropriate word, but the following, that means the student may forget or he may not be able to make his weakness into their strengths. Okay, so these are the implications. Yeah, this is the correct word. The implications of not properly analyzing the strengths and weakness is that the student might be still not that confident in his area. So to develop confidence, what do the teachers suggest you? That you should analyze your strengths and weakness. In the similar way, if the auditor is unaware that which part of the entity is strong, which part may have a higher risk, then what are the chances that his audit program may become unnecessarily heavy, or he may not be able to conduct the audit in a efficient manner. Okay, so that is why it is recommended that first you should evaluate and accordingly you should make the audit program. Now it is also important for him to know whether the system is actually in operation. Now again the same thing, that in India especially things happen to the government, I should say, that people what is the mentality of the people in India, that they think that the government although has passed some orders, so the government has passed orders that they will contribute this much to the poor section, this much to the middle class section, but what actually happens, we all know that uh, uh, in this also they are just saying that the system should not be done only on papers, it should be in actual, it should be in operation also. So it is important for the auditor to know that whether the internal control system is properly working in the entity, is properly in operation or not. Now, often after installation of a system, no proper follow-up is there by the management to ensure compliance. Now, again, things happen like this only, that in the starting, the things work very well. But if there is no follow-up, right, if there is no follow-up means if there is no proper checking, so what are the chances that the system which was working very very effectively in the starting may not be able to work efficiently in the latter. So there are chances that the risk might not be prevented, detected and corrected, right? So they are saying that only. So the auditor in such circumstances may lead to believe that a system is in operation, which in reality may not be altogether in operation or may at best operate only partially. So keeping these all circumstances in the mind, the auditor, what does he do? He assumes that the system might not be in proper operation. So that is why he should be more attentive, he should be more conscious, keeping these circumstances in his mind. So this state of affairs is probably the worst that an auditor may come across, and he would be in the midst of the confusion if he does not take care. So they are saying that this situation is very worst and the auditor should take a proper care, and he should be very very conscious, because the things happen like this that they may not be effective throughout the procedure, throughout the process, right? So it would be better. Now what should the auditor do, because things happen like this only? So it would be better if the auditor can undertake the review of internal control system of client. This will give him enough time to assimilate the controls and implications, and will enable him to be more objective in the framing of audit program. So that is why the auditor should review the internal control. Then he will also be in a position to bring the notice to the management the weakness of the system and to suggest measures for the improvement. So they are saying that the auditor, before making any audit program, he should review the audit internal control system. Then he should analyze the strengths and weakness and should suggest some suggestive measures to the management also. And at a further interim date, after he has suggested some corrective measures to the management, he should at an interim date, interim date means any date in the year, okay, what he should do, he should ascertain that how far the weaknesses have been removed. So the auditor should have a proper checking in the further interim dates, that whether the management has corrected whatever corrections he has told them to correct or not. So in this way he will be able to conclude that whether the internal controls that were implemented by the management, are they working properly throughout the audit, are they changed throughout the circumstances or not. Okay, now from the foregoing it can be concluded that the extent, and now this is the conclusion, that the extent and nature of audit program is substantially influenced by the internal control system in operation, and it is in deciding upon the plan of test checking, the existence and operation of internal control is of a great significance. Now, a proper understanding of internal control system in its content and working also enables an auditor to decide upon the appropriate audit procedure to be applied in different areas to be covered in the audit program. Now, if the auditor has a proper understanding of the internal control, the auditor can easily pay attention and can easily design various audit procedures that what he has to adopt, because if he finds there are a lot of weakness, then he should design the audit program accordingly. Now, in a situation where the internal controls are considered weak in some areas, the auditor might choose an audit procedure or test that otherwise might not be required. So if the internal controls are considered weak, then the auditor might choose an audit procedure or the test according to that weakness, and he might extend certain tests to cover a large number of transactions. Now, if there is weakness in the internal control, then he should keep the materiality level lower and he should check more number of transactions. Then he would examine, means he should examine more number of transactions than he examines in the normal circumstances. Now, this example you have to read by yourselves, and now there are some various methods by which the internal controls can be evaluated. So there are basically 4 methods: narrative record, checklist, questionnaire and flowchart. Now, narrative record by its name suggests only narration, that means exhaustive, that means in detail. So this is the complete and exhaustive description of the system as found in the operation. Actual testing and observation are necessary before such a record can be developed. So it is a complete and exhaustive description, right? These are the methods that how you can evaluate the internal control. Okay, now it may be recommended in cases where no formal control system is in operation and would be more suited to small business. This method is a very lengthy method, and it is a very time taking process because you have to check everything in detail. So that is why it is recommended that you should opt for this method if there is no formal control system in the entity or if the business is a small business. So if these are the 2 situations, then you can go for narrative record, and otherwise you should go with the other 3 methods. Now, there are some disadvantages of this method. To comprehend the system in operation is quite difficult. Now, what is the meaning of comprehend? Comprehend means understand. The understanding of the system that is going in the entity in operation is quite difficult because the auditor might not have the detailed understanding of that system. He may check that there is some weakness, but to have a deeper understanding of that system is very time taking and very difficult, right? Now, to identify weaknesses and gaps is also difficult because you cannot have a detailed understanding. Now, to incorporate changes arising on account of reshuffling of manpower. Now, if the manpower reshuffles, so there might be changes in the entity. So it is very difficult if everything has to be checked in detail, and if there are changes in the manpower, if there are changes in the human authority, right? So the whole system will again change. Now you have to evaluate the internal control system again in detail. So it is a very time taking process and a very difficult process. So you should adopt it if only there are 2 situations, that the business is a small business, because there will be there will be a small size of data, and if there is no formal system in the organization. Now, checklist and this internal control questionnaire are very related. Don't get confused. You have to write here that checklist is performed by the member of the auditor's team. Okay, and questionnaire is given to the any member of the entity. So checklist is done by the member of the engagement team, member of the auditing staff, and internal control is done by the internal control questionnaire is given to the member of the entity, that means the client or the entity where the auditor is going to do the audit. So let's have the understanding of this. What is done in the checklist? There is a series of instructions or orders and or questions which a member of the auditing staff must follow and or answer. When he completes instruction, he initials the space against the instruction. Answers to checklist instructions are usually yes, no, or not applicable. So there are a series of questions, or there are a series of instructions on a paper or on any electronic document that the auditor has, or the member of that auditing team, or the member of that engagement team has. Now, like they have given the example. Okay, now what he has to do is he just have to mark, he will check in the entity and he will mark that whether it is done yes, whether it is done no, then whether it is done yes or no or not applicable. So in this way, the member of the engagement team or the member of the auditing staff, he has to mark it. Now these questions are as per the job requirement or the instructions. Okay, like this is the business of, suppose, a tender. So our tenders called being before placing orders, are the purchases made on the basis of written order. So these questions or these instructions will be based on the requirement of the business or based on the job requirement. Okay, so in this way, the member of the audit team, they have to mark it. The complete checklist is studied by the principal, manager, or senior to ascertain existence of internal control, and after that member of auditing staff team has marked all the yes no answers, then he takes that sheet to his senior, and then his senior, that means the engagement partner, he evaluates that whether there are any weaknesses or whether the working is proper or not. So existence of internal control and evaluates its implementation and efficiency. Okay, now internal control questionnaire, it is a sheet that is given to the employees, it is given to the part of the members, it is given to the part of the organization, or it is given to the people who are working in that organization where we have gone for the auditing. So this is a comprehensive series of questions concerning internal control, and I'm sorry, this is most widely used form for collecting information about the existence, operation, and efficiency of internal control in an organization. Now this is the best and descriptive method, and it is a comprehensive series, and it gives the best result about the internal control system. An important advantage of the questionnaire approach is that oversight or omission is of significant internal control review procedures is less likely, because a comprehensive series of questions is prepared, and it is prepared keeping in mind the small aspects. Okay, so with the proper questionnaire, all internal control evaluation can be completed at one time or in sections. Now the review can be more easily be made on interim basis. Now if the review is made on a time to time basis, then the review will give more productive results, will give more accurate results. So the questionnaire forms also provide an orderly means of disclosing control defects, because if there are more number of no's, so that means, or if there are more numbers of not applicable, so that means there is some or the other weakness in the system. So it is the general practice to review the internal control system annually and record the review in detail. And in this also the answers are given in that form only. Yes means satisfactory, no means weaknesses, and not applicable means that it is not applicable to the relevant business. Okay, so this is issued to the client, that means the firm where we are going to audit, and the client is requested to get it filled by the concerned executives and employees. So this questionnaire is filled by the people of the organization, and checklist was filled by the member of the auditing staff. So this is one of the major point, and also there are questions or instructions, and here is a comprehensive series of questions. Okay, now if one of a pursual of the answers, inconsistencies or apparent incongruities are noticed, the matter is further discussed by the auditor's staff. Now again, if there is found that there are a lot of weaknesses, then the auditor he evaluates, he concludes the accordingly. So the concerned auditor then prepares a report of deficiencies and recommendations for the improvement. So if the auditor finds that there are a lot of weakness, then he suggests according to that, and he may also recommend to the further improvement. So the last method is your flowchart. Now, by the term flowchart only, you can understand that it is a graphical presentation of each part of the company system of internal control. That means everything is presented as per the through the drawings or graphs. A flowchart is considered to be the most concise way of recording the auditor's review of system, and it minimizes the amount of narrative information. That means everything is represented through diagrams or bar graphs, right? And thereby achieves a consideration or presentation not possible in any other form. It gives bird eye view of the system and the flow of transactions and integration and documentation, and weaknesses can be easily spotted and improvements can be easily suggested. So it is one of the most concise way. It is also necessary for the auditor to study the significant features of the business carried out by the concern. So the auditor should study the significant features along with the flowchart, the nature of its activities and various channels of goods and materials as well as cash both inward and outward, and also a comprehensive study of the entire process of manufacturing, trading and administration. So the auditor should have the understanding of all this. Now this will help him to understand and evaluate the internal controls in a correct perspective. So this topic is over, and if you have any doubts then you can definitely comment down. So this is one of the most concise manner. Then the above two are, one is questionnaire, the third is checklist, and it is one of the most exhaustive and a narrative manner. Okay, so this topic is over, and now just 5 topics are left, and I will cover it in 2 or 3 videos more. Okay, so the chapter is going to be over very soon, so stay tuned with the upcoming videos. And ending this video here, and if you find it helpful then do share these videos with your friends. So ending the video here, and thank you so much.